In just a few days, the madness is set to begin. A special time of year for sports fans everywhere as the NCAA tournament gets underway. Last year, the confetti, of course, fell for Kansas in a crazy comeback game versus my Carolina Tar Heels. But one of the top stories of the last year was the greatest Cinderella story in the history of the tournament, the Peacocks of St. Peter's. Now, I hate being one of those guys who swears they've called the Cinderella months before it happened. And in fact, I didn't. But I'm here today to attest to the fact that my good friend, my co-host, and the best pro trainer in the tri-state area, despite his inability to guard me or beat me in a three-point contest, Mr. Jason Cole. What is up, my brother?
What's good? Mr. Clark Kent himself, man. You are a man that has many talents. So guess what? Maybe I can't guard you. It's all good.
So before we can talk about how you can't guard me later, but the headline here is I'm trying to give you some credit, my man. You did call the fact that St. Peter's would be a Cinderella team last year. You said this. I remember you saying it.
And I'm hoping got FanDuel proof.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was going to say. I hope you have proof in one way or another. But you have a very special way, I think, of viewing college basketball, especially the teams that get hot at this time of year, and especially the teams that other people swear they know about and swear they're going to make a run. These are the teams where you seemingly know everything about everyone. It showed last year, and I'm hoping it shows again this year because I know you have a Cinderella pick that you're going to give us, correct?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
But before we get to the Cinderella picks, to me, I can sit here and give you all of my picks for the tournament. I could give you who I think is on major upset alert. But to me, the two great things about March Madness and the things that we care about most are one, Cinderellas, and two, national champion / Final Four. So I want to keep the conversation mostly about that. And with that, I'll go ahead and start. Mr. Jason Cole, I'm going to go ahead and declare my national champion right now. I'm going with Houston. And here's why. I know the Houston Cougars. I know today wasn't their best performance. They lost in their conference title game to a very talented Memphis side, may I add. But one, I know Marcus Sasser, who's a tremendous player, potentially is a massive loss if he doesn't play. But one, he's not ruled out completely. Two, they're still a threat without him. Three, the Final Four is in Houston. So if they get there, I like them to get behind that home court advantage and win it. And then listen to this. Houston, not a blue blood, not a national powerhouse, at least not how we talk about them. Even if, they're on the court, they are good enough to be one. We don't talk about them necessarily like they are year in, year out. This was their fifth time in the last 6 seasons they reached 27 wins or more. So they don't have the national title to show for it. But to me, they've been the most consistent college basketball program in the past 6 years. And of all those 6 years, this might be their most talented team. I already talked about it. Marcus Sasser, he's putting up 17 a game, and he's shooting nearly 40% behind the arc. He's an All-American, and he will go to the NBA. He's a phenomenal player. Okay, Walker, this other kid, Walker, they have, that's a lottery pick right there. And they have 4 other guys who are averaging 10 or more. And of all of the 1 seeds, they don't have the easiest, but I think they have one of the easier paths potentially to the Final Four. So for me, I'm going with Houston, and I love their coach. Final Fours in Houston. They were knocking on the door last year. Dare I say they've been knocking on the door the past 6 seasons. And I think this year with the Final Four being in their home city, they break through. I'm going with Houston. Mr. Jason Cole, your thoughts? And 2, let's hear your national champion.
First off, without Sasser, if in fact he cannot play, they will struggle to get past Auburn. Okay, Auburn's good. Just putting that out there. But as my national champion right now, I got Keontae George and his Baylor Bears.
Baylor winning the title.
Yes, playing against Miami. Isaiah Wong and his Miami Hurricanes.
Hey, can we talk about Miami for a second? I know how you feel about Miami.
Oh yeah. When you have a great leader on your team, it's easier to win games because you have a go-to guy. Most teams that you see that win the national championship always has that one guy that they can go to, right? That's why I picked Baylor because they have Keontae George, and that's why I picked Miami because they have Isaiah Wong. And not just those guys, but I'm saying with them, I put my money on those guys.
I like that. And I don't hate the Miami pick. I know that would mean one of us would have to be wrong, obviously, if, because Miami will theoretically have to get through Houston. I've always loved Larinaga. He's shown it time and time again. He can win with Cinderellas. He can win with, schools like Miami. Last year, I thought Miami just was a talented team that ran out of gas. They looked exhausted because they didn't have a very deep rotation. And they ended up, I believe it was Kansas, they ended up losing to, had a lead at halftime, or at least it was a close game at halftime. Score ended up making it look like it wasn't close, but remember being it being a pretty close game. I don't hate the Miami pick. You know me, I'm an ACC guy. I do like the Miami pick.
So I just see those guys repeating what they did last year and just turning it up a notch.
Yeah.
Getting to the chip, It could go either way, obviously, when you get there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to lean a little bit more towards Baylor.
They're really good. By the way, don't forget, if you guys have thoughts on this, which I know you do, please drop a comment. Let us know your national champion. Let us know your Final Four. Let us know who you think is on upset alert. And most importantly, let us know your Cinderella. We want to hear all of that stuff. Please drop a comment. We would absolutely appreciate that. But that said, I'm going to give you my Final Four very quickly. Just get it out of the way. I like Houston, as I said, national champion. I like Alabama to get there. Killer mentality. I like Duke to get there. I don't think Duke necessarily is the most talented team. Definitely not the most talented Duke team I've ever seen. I think last year's team was, in fact, a lot better. We know they're not exactly experienced at coach, but they're hot right now, and this team has a lot of soul. This team has seemingly figured things out at the right time. So it pains me to say this, but I do think Duke has a very good chance of getting to the Final Four. And Gonzaga. I think the one big thing for Gonzaga, this year, are they as talented as years past? No. But there's a lot less pressure because they're not as talented and because their regular season was great, but not as good as it has been in the past. I like Gonzaga to finally break through that ceiling and get to a Final Four. I don't know what they'll do when they get there, but I like Gonzaga to get to the Final Four. And with that, I'm going to give you my Cinderella team. So this was back in maybe December, maybe even November. This was a cold, chilly night in New York, and young Hank was sitting on the couch watching some college hoops, and who comes on the TV other than Furman? Now, I'll be very transparent. I can't tell you where Furman even is. If you gave me a map, I could not tell you where Furman is, right? But that doesn't matter because I'm picking Furman University as my Cinderella story. I like them to make a run. I like them to make a run in this tournament. Listen to this. Furman are winners of 6 straight games entering the tournament, and they've won 14 of their last 15. Now you say, oh, well, Henry, it's Furman. They don't play anyone. You're right. I can't argue that. They don't play anyone, but they do what they're supposed to do against lower level competition. In their 15 conference games, they've won by an average margin of 16 or more. 5 of those wins have come by 20 or more. So they're doing what they should be doing to bad teams, right? Not for nothing. Jalen Slauson, look out for this guy. 6'7", nearly 16 a game, 7 boards, 3 assists. This man is a sniper from 3. He's shooting 40% on the year, and He's one of 4 guys on this Furman side putting up double figures on this team. So not only do they have one guy who is a legit NBA player, but they have a deep rotation that's getting you buckets from all around. And listen to this, Jason, what have I been harping on for a long time that is the key to win in college basketball in 2023?
So just a few months. What has Hank been harping on?
Get old and stay old. Freshmen ain't doing it for me. It's about fifth-year seniors. It's about grad transfers. And boy, if there were ever a school that was built for grad transfers and fifth-year seniors, it is fucking Furman. They have 2 fifth-year seniors, the aforementioned Jalen Slauson and a guy named Mike Bothwell, okay? They've led this Furman side over the past 5 years to 115 wins, okay? 115 wins. And listen to this. Over the past 5 seasons, this is not like a one-year wonder type team. Over the past 5 seasons, they've had 20 wins or more. They're one of only 16 Division I teams to do that. This is a team that's been knocking on the door. All it took for them was to finally win their conference and punch that ticket, and that's what they did. And the cherry on top of all of this, and why I like Furman to make a lot of noise, who are they playing in the first round that just loves getting upset in the tournament? Virginia.
UVA.
Virginia. UVA. There's no college basketball team that loves getting upset more than Virginia. They love it.
Uh-oh.
And I like Tony Bennett, but how many years? It feels like 10 straight years for Virginia. We have to rely on Kihei Clark making a big shot when it matters. And like you said before, he can get a big stop when it matters, but he ain't getting you a big bucket when it matters, and he's their primary ball handler. This Virginia style is always susceptible to an upset. They have a point guard who cannot score the basketball and is 5'8". I'm telling you, this Virginia team loves getting upset, and Furman is an absolute nightmare matchup for them. I don't talk amounts, but I will be betting a good amount on Furman to beat Virginia. That's my Cinderella.
Coming back with the FanDuel proof, y'all. Make sure y'all look out for that episode. But
exactly.
On my end, Hank, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking I'm not going to go so much player, but I'm going to go for the coach. So
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, so my Cinderella or sleeper team, I'm going to put it in Rick Pitino's hands over at Iona, right here in New York. And I think he's going to drive them a few wins. I'm not going to say how many, but I think they shock a few people for sure. UConn, I mean, I just see them taking them out, and then boom, it's a little scary after that, right?
I would agree. I would not want to have if you're a coach entering March Madness, the last thing you want to do is have to enter a chess match with Rick Pitino.
There you go. In the first round.
In the first round. That is the last team UConn wanted to play.
Right. So that's my Cinderella. And there's no in particular reason based on players or personnel, anything like that. The staff over there is amazing. Shout out Talik Brown family. He's coaching at Iona with Rick Pitino. I just see Rick Pitino making some noise, making sure people remember who he is. Because, he's been like under the radar since he, went through his little mishap. Guess what? That shit is over. He's about to wake everybody up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the other thing is, how poetic would it be with all the rumors swirling right now with Rick Pitino heading to the Big East to take a job there, that if he made an early mark on the Big East and took down UConn in the first round? I'll be honest, I'm with you on that one. I don't think they go as far as my Furman boys do, but I do like Iona to at least upset UConn.
All right, $20 On Furman to get further than Iona, $20 on Iona to get further than Furman.
Okay, I may be putting a little more than $20 on Furman.
I'm talking about me and you, just a
Oh.
friendly friend of a friend bet.
Sounds good. Speaking of
Okay.
being a friend of a friend, do us a favor. Drop a comment. Let us know all your March Madness predictions. We're curious to hear them. And make sure you subscribe.